Hello everyone and welcome back to Modded Minecraft. So we are back on the FTOG server for a little bit more of Avant 3, and gotta say straight off the bat that I'm pretty happy with how things have turned out so far. Things are really beginning to come together now, and just want to show you what I've done since the last episode. So the walkway down here, or it will be a walkway as soon as we put some kind of material on there, and I kind of know what I'm going to do with it, but we'll do that at a future point in time. But yeah, that's all the way around now. We've continued the wall round here. I've finally got around to building around the ore processing. And I've taken quite a bit of inspiration from this previous building that I made over here for the steel works. But I've just kind of tried to mix it up a little bit. I've added a little bit more detail. This is the evolution of chisels and bits. It gets to us all, and yeah, so I've used that in various places, but yeah, really happy with it. So it's nothing special, but to me it does the job. And obviously we were looking at just adding some bits and pieces just to enhance stuff visually in the last episode, and just carried on with a little bit of that. I quite like these. I used some of the chiseled acacia planks, and they kind of look like crates. I think you get the same effect with all the different woods, but yeah, I just kind of quite liked it with the acacia. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I think I spent most of the time on this building, probably most of it actually making drain pipes, but yeah, all pretty happy with it. So anyway, onward with what I want to do today, and that is pretty much I want to get on and start some Botania. Now, I've already been on today and just made a little bit of a start to it for a couple of reasons, really. Reason number one is I think pretty much everybody in the world of modded Minecraft has either seen videos or made Botania or started Botania themselves. So, you know, the whole sort of setting up the Petal Apothecary and getting the sort of living wood and the living rock and the pure daisies. Pretty much standard stuff. I mean, well, I guess it's all pretty much standard stuff, but certainly this sort of start point is anyway. And I made all these bits and pieces kind of before the video rather than sort of starting at the very beginning, because there was a couple of bits and pieces that I wanted to grab. And first and foremost was I wanted to go out and get a load of the mystical flowers, which I've done. I've also grabbed one of the flower pouches from Botania, and we've got a full stack of all the different colours of flower in there as well. And to do that, I made myself a Horn of the Wild, which is pretty easy to make. It's just a little bit of living wood and any colour of petal. That makes life easy. If you haven't seen this before, pretty much, I absolutely love this thing. All you do is, say for example, stand. In fact, let's just get away from our bits and pieces over there. Just go forward a little bit to over here. So you just stand near any kind of flower, hold down the right mouse key, and it'll just automatically farm all the stuff up for you. Now, when you combine that with the magnet, it's a pretty handy tool when you're actually sort of going out and sort of trying to get flowers and stuff. You can just literally just operate it like that, fly about and pick stuff up, and it's just a lot less time consuming. And I did all the collections in the mining dimension as well, because pretty much it's far easier to see the flowers and stuff because it's flat. It does seem to be more, I don't know why, maybe it's just because I can't see it in the sort of normal overworld with the sort of hills and trees and that, but there does seem to be more of the flowers there. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, it does seem that it generates more. So anyway, what to do next? Well, the first very first thing is with these flowers, I don't really want to, even though I said it was quick, I really don't want to get to a position where sort of later on down the line, and it's going to be quite a while because I did collect a lot of them, but later on down the line, I don't really want to have to go out and sort of collect loads and loads of flowers again. And there is a method by which you can duplicate the flowers. And I'm going to show you that now. Now, in order to do it, I'm not actually going to make this setup myself because there's absolutely no point. It's Link has already set it up on his base, and we're going to nip over there. In fact, I'm not going to teleport because I get a weird lag at the moment when I teleport. We're just gonna fly off over there. Okay, so we have arrived safely at Link's base, and I'm not going to show you anything else around the base because I don't want there to be any spoilers. So I'm just going to be really, really careful where I'm pointing the camera at this point. But what I do want to show you is this. So this is his, I think what's he called it here, the Thor's Botania flower multi. And if you just get back in there, so you have to stand. I think you have to stand on this pressure plate. I'm not 100% sure, but as it says, you put petals and bone meals in the chest. That then gets fed down into this setup. So we've got an auto placer from Actual Additions, and then a couple of the extra utilities, mechanical users, and then some other bits and pieces underneath. But if I just show you this, basically grab. In fact, we need to grab some petals first of all. So let's just grab a couple of those. So at the moment, we've got four of the red petals. And what we'll do is we'll pop those in there and then just pop some bone meal in there as well. And as you can see, they have now all turned into tall flowers. So we've now got 4 tall flowers and the bone meal's all been applied. I think you probably just have to put the same amount of bone meal as petals in there. But if we now take those tall flowers and pop those into the crafting grid, you'll see that we now get 16 of the petals. So it's actually times that by 4. So that is a pretty cool deal. And obviously what that means for the future is that I thought originally what it meant was that we wouldn't have to grab any more flowers. Now I do just want to double check this and see if we just take 1 flower and pop that in, and is that going to do something? And then pop the bone meal in there as well. So I think we have to be standing on here. Yeah, there he goes. Can that go in? Has it gone in? Why doesn't that? Oh, because it wants petals. That's why. Hang on. Let's just put a petal in there. And just wait for that to do its thing. Now, yeah, so then basically we get two petals. So as long as we've got the petals, we'll never run out of petals. So it can't duplicate us the flowers, it just duplicates the petals. So for 1 petal, you get 4 back. But yeah, that is a pretty cool thing. As I say, I'm not going to be setting that up myself. And for those of you that are wondering, I know that he's shown this all on video before, so we can fly out over this way. For those of you that are wondering, I am going to do a bit of a base tour at some point in the future, probably the near future actually, and just to make sure that I've showed everything that everybody else has done. But in the meantime, the links for everybody's channels is down in the description to all my videos. So make sure that you check them out. And if you want to see how Link built that little setup, then I'm sure he'll have done a video on it at some point. So yeah, go and check that out as well. Okay, so now we're back and you've seen how I'm going to duplicate the flowers, or how I'm going to take care of my future flower petal needs. We can carry on with what I want to do today on this. And to start off with, I want to automate the Petal Apothecary. And the reason for wanting to do that is because it's all well and good. You can have a infinite water source here to put your sort of buckets of water in. But if you're making a large amount of recipes, or a large amount of flowers, which we intend to do, because I want to make quite a few of the day blooms to start off with, in order to get our sort of mana production off the ground, it's a bit tedious to have to sort of keep getting the buckets of water in there all the while. So what we are going to do is we're going to set up a little bit of a system. Now, I know Link has already got a system in place. Again, Link is kind of like the resident Botania expert on the server. And we had a little bit of a chat yesterday about how to do this, because I don't know why, but for some reason in the past I thought that you could pipe directly into this with one of the sort of like Fluiducts or Ender IO pipes, but it seems that that isn't and never has been the case. And yeah, probably dreamt that up somewhere, to be honest. But there is a way, and there's a couple of ways. Certainly there's a couple of ways that we know about. There's probably more. But the way that Link does it is with mechanical users from extra utilities and water buckets. I could have just gone that route, but I decided, you know what, let's try and find a different way. Now, it's not necessarily going to be any more, or in fact, it's probably going to be less efficient. But yeah, I just wanted to try something different. So what I've basically going to come up with is we're going to create water buckets using we're going to create water to put in buckets using the agriculture expansion, because as you're probably aware by now, I absolutely love this mod. So I want to try to utilize that a little bit more. And then we just got to find a system to actually cycle the water through and through the bucket into the Petal Apothecary, and then sort of, back into probably an auto crafter. Now, the reason why I've started here rather than sort of saying, right, here's my sort of completed water sprouts, I just wanted to show you something just on the actual water sprouts themselves that might cause you a bit of a problem. And this is how you sort of deal with it. So here's the water sprout. And in order to make the water sprout, you need the water sprout former. And the water sprout former is made by putting a bucket into a crafting grid. And that is basically how you get it. Now, if you go in through the storage tablet, so through one of these grids, no matter what you do, when you put the bucket in, it's always going to want to give you this water vapor cloud from Terraqueous. And obviously, there's more than one recipe then that's linked to a single water bucket. And maybe somebody could tell me how, but I couldn't find a way to actually change that over to the other recipe. So you kind of got to do it in either a vanilla crafting grid or one of the crafting stations. So now if I take that same water bucket, I'll get a little arrow here and I can click on that arrow, hopefully. And in fact, there was 3 recipes by the looks of it. No, there was just 2. So you can cycle through them. And yeah, so it's obviously that we want. And then once you've got that, you can obviously then go back into your normal crafting grid and we can select the sprout and set it up that way. There we go. And there is our first sprout. So now that I've got that, I'm going to go off camera for a bit and I'm going to set myself up a little area for the sprouts. And it's probably not going to be a permanent area because I just want something sort of temporary so that we can get on with the video. But yeah, so I'm going to get that done just to save a little bit of time and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I'm back. And rather than set up anything new for now, I've just used what I've got over here, and I replaced all of what was in here with the water crops, and I've just left that running for a fair while. And I've set up an item filter, or I've set up another blacklist in the house just to make sure the crops are not being pulled over there. And then I've pulled a pipe off or a conduit off over here. Now, I did have a bit of a disaster that I went on to the next stage of this, which is to put an auto crafter on here, one of the craft benches from Terraqueous. And I forgot to put a filter on. Of course, it pulled all of the hose, the iron essence, and everything else in. So I've just had to rectify that really quickly. But now that we have, so we'll grab the craft bench, we'll pop it on top. And then, as I say, if we look in here, we've now got an item filter in here with the water essence, so it can only pull the water essence in. So if we look in here, there isn't actually anything in here for now. What we'll do is we will just pop in the rest of the water essence that we actually collected up. So just pop it into there for a minute. And what we need to do, is we need to grab ourselves another bucket. And I thought I had got the buckets out already, but clearly not. So let's just quickly grab one of those. Now, I'm going to grab a few for a minute, but we're actually in theory only going to need one for this. So put the bucket in the middle. We'll grab our essence, and that is basically going to say, right, create us a bucket of water. And then what we'll have is we want to grab the bucket of water out here and we want to drop it into here. Now, what we can use for that is if we use, well, we could use a vanilla dropper, but I think we'll go with one of the open crates from Botania. They are pretty easy to make. So there we go, open crate. So it's just basically some living wood planks. Now, each living wood plank is one living wood makes 4 living wood planks. So I'm thinking, hopefully, that we've got enough if we just farm this up, that we've got enough with this here and not have to go off camera to make any more of this. So we'll grab that, we'll turn that into planks, and then, as I say, we'll go back into the open crate again. We're going through this way, and we should just be able to make one of those like so. And then we just need to make a little bit of a, we'll use this for now. This isn't going to be permanent, by the way. We'll just use one of these up here just to actually get that over the top. And I want to put it up a little bit of a distance just so I've got some room to work with. And then the actual open crate itself, we're going to put that there, so that's facing down. And then we need to make a hopper into the top of this. If I could just remember the, in fact, we should just be able to craft one of those because I know that we've definitely got the chests. So we'll grab ourselves a hopper and pop that on top. And then we need to pipe that, the output from this, so the bucket, into the hopper. That'll go into the open crate and it will drop it into here. Then we need a way of picking up the empty bucket. And for that, I think we'll use if we use one of the vacuum chests from Ender.io. Now, hopefully we've got the bits and pieces that we need to make this. I know we definitely haven't got any of the pulsating crystals at the moment, so let's just make one of those really quickly. So we need to make some more pulsating iron nuggets. And we'll make another stack of those, another load of those. And now we can make one of those. And now we should, there we go, grab that one. We should just be able to pop that together. So there's the vacuum chest. And now if we pop that down just there. Now I'm going to have, thinking to myself now, I'm going to have to possibly move this away because I don't know whether or not the vacuum chest will be quicker at picking stuff up than my magnet. I wouldn't have thought so, but I just want to make sure. So yeah, anything that falls near that, yeah, my magnet is actually quicker. So let's just turn that off for a second. And if we just throw that over there again, and that'll be picked up, say, in the vacuum chest, like so. And then we need a way of getting that back out again. Well, luckily, it's an Ender.io piece of kit, so we can just do it that way and get that to come along like this, round here. And is that lined up? Yes, it is. Good. Here and here. So now, anything that goes into here will automatically be picked up. Now, I'm going to leave that on extract with a Redstone Signal, and this is going to be on insert. And then the one thing that we don't want to do is, so when we link this up, so let's just take the, we take this here, yeah, let's put this across the top here, into here, like so. And I think this can just go into this, oh no, it needs to go into the top, does it? I think let's just put it into the top just to make absolute sure. And along like this. So this is going to be on insert mode. And now there should be. Oh, it's because we haven't taken redstone mode off of that yet. So basically what happens when I take redstone mode off of this, it's going to take a bucket, and it's only got one bucket in there. So if we, in fact, we can do this now. If we turn that off of extract, that should, in theory, take this bucket. It should have pulled that round. Why is that not taking that out? Is that not on insert mode yet? I don't think it is. No, is it? Right, that is on insert. And we haven't actually got an empty bucket in there yet. That's why. So if I pop an empty bucket in there now, that will now go away and it will make a bucket. As you can see, that is now, it's taken that, it's dropped it into there, and we've now got an empty bucket in the vacuum chest. Good. So we're filling it with water, so that bit works. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to be able to give this a redstone signal, because what we don't want is for this not to have a redstone signal, because otherwise what will happen is it will take the bucket back out of here, route it back round again, route it back round to the table, which will automatically create another bucket, and then it will have basically a full bucket into here, but there'll obviously be it'll be a continuous loop, because there'll be water in here, and it'll be trying to put more water in there, so it'll break the system. So theoretically, we only ever need one bucket. And what we'll do is grab some of the Redstone Conduit, and so let's just actually pop in Conduit just to try and make life easier. So we want some not energy conduit, sorry, insulated redstone conduit. Now I doubt very much whether we've got any of that. Let's just have a quick look and see. No, we haven't, and we haven't got enough conduit binder either. So to make this redstone alloy, I think it's just, yeah, a bit of redstone and some silicon, and obviously we need some conduit binder as well. Right, give us 2 seconds and I'll go and make some of that stuff, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so a couple of minutes later, and we've got what we need to make some of this. So we'll make 16 bits of this. And what we basically want to do is, so we're going to be standing here, so we can stand this way. We want a way of just activating this so that it automatically refills it when we need it refilling. So what we'll do is we'll take this just here, and if I can just put this in here like this. So we've got our redstone alloy like so, and we'll pop that along here and into there. Let's just see what height we want this at. So we're going to want a button there, and then what that'll do is it will activate it. So I've now, believe it or not got a button. So let's just, hopefully I've got one in store somewhere there. There we go, a wooden button for now. As I say, we will neaten things up afterwards. So let's see if I pop the button there, and then that will provide a redstone signal when we need it. So let's just, first of all, let's just make something really quick. We'll make another one of the white daisies. So let's just grab some white petals. So we want 4 of those. And we also want to grab some seeds, which I must have about 1 million of, I would think, by now. Oh no, not quite 1 million, 800. And where did I just put? Am I losing the plot? I thought I just had my white petals in my hand. What did I do with them? I seemed, that was really weird. Oh, there they are. Fine. Right, we'll pop that up there for now. So we'll just pop our white petals in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop in the seed. And that empties the water bucket again. So now if we want this filled up, now we've got to remember, I think, not to There we go. As simple as that. So that is now, and obviously, yeah, right click with an empty hand to go back to the last recipe. So if you were to get rid of that and say we wanted to make a few more of these, so let's just make a few more petals. Just create some space. So that's got some water in. So we right click it with an empty hand. Or is it shift right click? There's a time limit on it and we walked away from it. Right, so let's just grab the petals again. 1, 2, 3, 4 petals. And we also want 1 seed. Let's just see how good this can work now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a petal. Press the button. Down falls the water. Right click with an empty hand. Yeah, and if we had all of the stuff, obviously that would go in there. So that's pretty cool, and it doesn't matter how close we stand. And as long as we remember not to press the button before it's been emptied, then we won't have any problems. I don't really know of a way to ensure that doesn't happen because, yeah, in order to do that, you'd need something to be able to understand that this had water in. And because this isn't treated as an actual tank or as an inventory, I don't think there's anything that can actually do that. So yeah, the next step on this anyway is going to be pretty much I want to automate the input of the ingredients into this. The main reason is I'm still a little bit concerned, even if I'm standing here with the magnet off, that there's going to be, I mean, it hasn't happened this time, but there is a chance, I guess, that I might pick the bucket up before the vacuum chest does. And that'd be a bit of a pain to have to keep sort of going into your inventory and taking it back out and put it in there. Which would be just as quick to have an infinite water source there and do it manually. So I want to be able to stand away back from this. So I'd like to have a chest here that I can put my ingredients in and for it to automatically filter through to this. And maybe we could sort of fully automate this so it knows when to drop stuff. Probably have to work on the same button system. But I'm going to do that in between episodes because it's going to be I would imagine it's going to be a pretty similar type setup. And yeah, that is going to be it, to be honest. I think we've run out of time again, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Like I said, I had a good look through the internet trying to find sort of ideas for how to actually automate this, and there kind of wasn't really that much. So I decided to come up with something for myself. And whilst it might not be as compact as others, I mean, certainly the design that Link has got with the mechanical users is a lot more compact. Yeah, I kind of like this. And yeah, so I hope you liked it. If you have, drop us a like. Always appreciated. And thanks for watching, guys. And as always, take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.